Hello everyone. In this video, we will create a dedicated server with a third-person template project. The prerequisite for this is building Unreal Engine from source. If you haven't already done this, please refer to my previous video where I showed you how to do just that. Now, the official Unreal Engine documentation for setting up dedicated servers uses the Lyra sample game, and I will link to this below in the description. For this video, however, I will keep things simple and use the third-person template. So here we have a source build of the engine running that I just launched from Visual Studio. And the first thing we want to do is create a third-person project. Make sure it's a C++ project. Includes starter content, and I have it here in my projects folder. For this, I'll just name it third person. And hit create. So here we have the Visual Studio solution for our new third person project. I'll go ahead and close the Visual Studio solution for the engine itself, since we will no longer be using that for now. And from the solution for our new project, I'll go ahead and click the local Windows debugger to launch it. Now, every time you create a new project, the engine goes through the process of compiling shaders, and it could take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, mainly depending on the specs of your machine, but more specifically your CPU. In a future video, I could go over how to optimize shader compilers, but for now, all we could do is wait for the shaders to compile. A few moments later, through the magic of television, our shaders finish compiling. So the first thing I'm going to do is create our main menu. So I'll go ahead and go to File, New Level. I'll select the Basic Level template and hit Create. Then I'll save this level as Main Menu Map. Now we can go ahead and create the widget blueprint. And in Unreal Engine 5, you can open the content drawer by pressing Ctrl spacebar or clicking the content drawer button in the bottom left hand side. So I'll right click in the content folder, go to user interface, select widget blueprint. I'll select the user blueprint and name it WBP main menu. Now let's open it up. So right here in our widget blueprint, first thing I want to do is add a canvas panel. Then I want to add a button and a corresponding text block to the button. I'll go ahead and change the text on the text block to login for our login button, as well as the name of the button itself to button_login. Then on the hierarchy pane on the left hand side, I will click on the button and duplicate it. And our second button will be to quit the game. We can change the text block on the second button to quit. And in the same hierarchy pane, hold down Control and select both login and quit button. Then right click, select wrap with, and select the vertical box. Now while you still have the two buttons selected, we can add a padding of about 15. And now we can change the settings for the vertical box itself. So for the vertical box, I want it to anchor in the center of the screen. So with the vertical box selected in the hierarchy pane, go to the details pane on the right hand side. Under anchors, hold down Control, Shift, click the center anchor. For the size of the vertical box, I want to change the size X to about 300 and the size Y to about 200. Make that 150. Now we can add the functionality to the button itself. Click on the login button in hierarchy, and then on the details, scroll down to events, find event on click, then click on the plus button, which will take us to the blueprint graph. From the on click button login, pull out from that pin, and the function, the node we want is open level by name. For this video, we will only be connecting to a local dedicated server, and the address for the local host is 127.0.0.1, and the default port for Unreal Engine is 7777. So it's 127.0.0.1:7777. Then click back on the designer view. Now we want to add functionality to the quit button. Scroll down on details pane again on the event on click. Click that plus. And for this, we simply want to quit the game. So that should be it for the widget blueprint. Go ahead, compile and save, and close out of the widget blueprint. Next, we want to create and add that widget blueprint to our main menu. So up top on the toolbar, drop down on this blueprint button, select open level blueprint. For now, we won't need event tick, so I'll go ahead and delete that. From the event begin play, we want to create widget blueprint, or create widget, the class being the WBP main menu. Then we want to add it to viewport. The owning player will be our player controller. While we have the player controller, we also want to set show the cursor, because when the game client loads up, we'll be greeted with the menu that we just created, and you want the player to be able to navigate with the mouse cursor. Check that to true, then connect the pins. And that'll be it for our level blueprint. Compile and save. Now we need to go to the project settings to set up our maps and modes, our default maps. Under Edit, go to Project Settings. Under Project, click on Maps and Modes. Under Default Map, expand the Advanced options. For the game default map, we want the main menu map. This will be for our client. For server default map, we want the third person map. That will be for our server. And back under project, we want to go to packaging. Then under packaging, expand the advanced settings as well. Scroll down until you see list of maps included in a package build. Add 2 array elements, and we'll proceed to add the maps that we just created. The third person map as well as the main menu map. And that'll be it for our project settings. Next, we have to create build targets. Essentially, we have to create a build target for our server build as well as one for our client build. And I will link to the reference for build targets in the description below. So for now, close out of the Unreal Editor. In your Windows Explorer, navigate to your project root. Then inside the source folder, we want to make 2 copies of the editor target build. Now this is the best way I've found to do this. If you know of a better way to create build targets, whether in Visual Studio or otherwise, feel free to let me know in the comments. But for now, we'll just create 2 copies of the editor target build and rename them to server and client. So the first one, I'll just rename it to our project name with the server suffix .target.cs. And for our second copy, I'll rename it to our project name with the client suffix .target.cs. Then I'll go ahead and edit the target build inside Notepad. There should be 3 places where you need to replace the word editor with the word server in the server build target. Save and close. Then we'll do the same thing with our client build target. But with the word client. Then save and close. Then back in your project root folder, right click on the project binary or project executable. Select Generate Visual Studio Project Files. Then you can go ahead and open up the project in the editor by double clicking the project executable itself. Back in the Unreal Editor, now we're ready to package our builds. On the toolbar, under Platforms, under Windows, make sure your binary configuration is Development and the build target is Server. We'll build our server first. Then under Platforms, Windows, Package Project. Here I've created a build folder for binary builds. So the first time you build your project, it will take a while depending on the specs of your machine. However, subsequent builds shouldn't take nearly as long. We can click on Show Output Log to check the progress. Once your server build is finished packaging, we want to repeat the step for our client build. So under Platform, Windows, select the client build target, then select Package Project. Congratulations! Both the server and client build was successful. Navigate to your build folder. Then in your server build folder, in the Window Explorer address bar, type in cmd to open up a command prompt in the current directory. The command to start the server is simply your project name with the server suffix .exe with the log flag. I'll go ahead and dock this server terminal to my top left corner. Then navigate to your client build folder. In the Window Explorer address bar, type in cmd to open a command prompt in the directory. Now the command to start the client is the project name, client suffix.exe, and there are 3 flags we want to attach. Windowed, to start the client in windowed mode, and we need to provide it with the corresponding X and Y resolution. So here's our first client. I'll go ahead and click login. And our first client is in. So now I'll repeat that command to instantiate a second client. Now we have a second client in our server. For our third client, I'll actually sign in to our local server with the editor. So I'll go ahead and dock the editor in the bottom left hand. Then click login, and there we have it. 3 clients connected to a local dedicated server, and as you can see, all the movements are network by default. So you see the characters from our respective clients being replicated over our local network. This short series is mainly intended to get a basic understanding of setting up Unreal Engine 5 and building dedicated servers. In later videos, we can potentially cover topics such as uploading our server to a cloud service and cross-compiling for Linux, so you can connect Windows clients to Linux servers. In the meantime, if you have any other topics you'd like to see me cover, feel free to drop a comment in the description. Thank you for watching.